Hi everybody, there's just a few students here. I wanted to give you video feedback so you could get your feedback in time for your assignment. So I'm going to jump right in. Zuri, I've said that I really love this photo. It's really awesome and clear, highlights in the eyes. It's just perfect. These are aligned. That's perfect. I'm not sure why this is cut off like this. So, you might want to check that out. I am looking at this at actual size, so check that out here. You're linked up, and as far as your social media, here's one of the big things is this particular layout could be stronger if you look at the template that you used. This is how that's being done, right? So it's just 2 paragraphs and a lot less scrolling so that your image, your photo's great if it could just come up, like this one does in the template. The background, if you notice, is very discreet. There's not a lot going on. It's also blue, so it's going to, kind of a cool blue, so it's going to recede. Whereas the image you have has got a lot of activity, it's very warm, and that means it's going to come forward in the image and compete with whatever is laying on top of it. So if you have some work that would fit into this kind of category, that would work better in that location. And then making sure you get that down. Now, if you want to have more about yourself, maybe the place to do that is going to be on a contact page, just a little bit if you want. At the bottom, you could even perhaps put a button and link to another page that has it. But this is just a little much. I do like what you're saying, but for this particular layout, it's too much. The other option I gave you was to create 2 columns, bring this up to here. You could even wrap it down here around it. And if you chose a different image, you could do that and keep most of what you have. You would make this a much narrower column so that you could bring that image up. But those are the 2 options that I recommend for this, so that it actually reduces scrolling and gives it the best presentation there. But things are lining up, that's good. It would be better if this didn't happen there. So if this were to land there, and again, if this were not so busy, if this black came all the way down, it might actually work better. Right? If you made this deeper, so that would look pretty good, and work on that. You don't have to say, well, you do have to say it's student work if you're using any kind of copyright material, but you are going to be graduating soon, so you want to make sure that everything you put on your site is original and doesn't have anything that, Nike brands or anything like that. And that may not be why you've done this, but you don't have to say it's for college. Just say what your role was. Here you say directed, that's good. I don't know if you have that on every one. You want to be consistent for sure. All right? Okay. Better. See, this arrow was being lost. Right? With the play symbol. Okay, so try and be really consistent on where these are starting. If you can bring that up here or edit this a little bit to where that's not by itself, the number 9. Okay, so those are the biggies. Those are the big things. And add your contact page. And making a contact page that is totally separate is oftentimes best. It will make it easier for the user and easier for you to create and keep it all separate and nice. Okay, so watch how things break, right? And I think you need more room here between this symbol and your initials. I'm not sure this is centered, so you want that centered. And if you have it at the bottom, You won't need it at the top. Maybe centering these. Avoid underlining things like this because it's not clickable, and that kind of makes us think it is. Left align your text always, if it's paragraph text, and because it's easier to read. And you're definitely going to want to crop down, edit some of this down for your mobile because it's too much scrolling. All right. You want to make sure that you freeze your navigation so it's always present. Yeah, double check. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And that would be centered. If you have it in 2 columns, it may ultimately center it in your mobile. But you would have to go back and check your mobile to make sure that the layout is working. All right, so those are the suggestions at this stage. I think it's going to come together really nice. It's just mostly this, all right? But I do love what you've written. Okay, next, Wade, you've really made some changes, and it's better. The layout is better. There's a lot of scrolling, but it's not my first concern. Let's see. I would. It's this. I know it's the template, so I'm not going to really beat that. This I think needs to be a little bigger, and I think these we want to remove the squares, and I would make your navigation in this font. Okay, the size is good. And I would probably move it over to possibly the center. This needs to be centered, okay, with this, and this needs to come over, which means this has to move. It can either move up here a little smaller, and you're going to have more options when you do that. If you reduce that and then bring this center, okay, and maybe that's centered or maybe to the right. Once you get this over here, possibly in the header, it will be a little small in that case, but I think you want to start with that. Alternatively, you could move this under this, but that would push this down further, which we don't want to do. There are things you can do down the road, but not necessarily for this page. So, you could make it a little more transparent, that kind of thing, but not for this page. We need to get into your work here. And your bio, good. That's working. It's landing in the right place. Be careful. I hope that is a Google phone number, because that will be better for you than having people call you. Okay. I recommend a separate page for you for your contact. There'll be less scrolling. It'll just be a click away and it'll come up as another page. That's what I recommended. Thinking about this font for that too. Okay. So you have your asset guides. So that's good. You want to make sure that you include what your role was. For sure. Even if you have it up here. You might include the camera you used if you like. Yeah, that's what I would do for that. So your mobile view, I've looked at it. This is more interesting because it's centered, right? But it's just not working for your desktop. And this has to fade out sooner or just be fixed up here. The navigation needs to go a little darker. And I'm just thrilled with where you are, because this has come a long way in just a week. Okay. I would put your social media icons down here probably, and possibly center that. You have everything left aligned, and that's okay. Maybe we want to center the title though. Good. Try not to have one word on a line. And I do think you want to cut your bio down just a little. Most people need to. This, yeah, you might want to freeze it up there. We need to change the contrast, increase it, right? Trying to find that. Okay. Yeah, so you'll want to fix that. Make sure that is locked where we can see it. It's not moving. I have to go to the top to use it. Okay, so just a little bit of work on that. And once you fix the desktop, some of those things are going to correct themselves, and then some of the things are going to move around, and you'll want to fix those. Okay, all right. Okay, we looked at that one. Okay, Dwight. The only thing that I think is really missing here is your asset guides. These are laid out really nice. They're in a grid formation. That's good. You can put your asset guide here. You tell us what it is, you know, but let's see a little bit about what your role was.
Yes, there is the camera.
Okay. I think this is interesting the way you have these, but just be sure to add your asset guides. I loved this, totally loved this. And especially, let's go ahead and align that left. And I especially loved your contact. I thought that was really great. It looked like a little dissolve could be maybe between, you know, the loop. But I loved that. Very casually creative. And I think you're going to need at least a LinkedIn social site. Let me see if, okay. All right. Yeah, this is working well. Now, I didn't see the mobile version, I don't think came with this. Okay, so I wasn't able to look at that. That's pretty important. So make sure you go ahead and get me that link for your Get Feedback. All right, nice work. Okay, Artem. Nice. Okay. I'm curious. Okay. The way this is, it makes me want to make this a more narrow column, wrap it down here. It could be 2 small paragraphs, and bring this up a little bit. I feel like there's this, like it wants to come up, but it can't because there's text here. And so, you know, duplicate your site, try it, see how it works for you. I know that this lands well because it's got the depth and everything, and that's all good. But yeah, just something to think about. I know it's going to create different depth for you. Again, same thing here. Let's not, I don't even need it there. I'm not sure that you do. Let's see. You could even change this to, you know, enter your email to keep up with me, or to, you know, keep up with my latest work or something. Yeah, because that seems clickable, like it would go to your works page, but it doesn't. Okay. And this goes to your YouTube. I'm glad it's discreet. We don't want to send people off of our site. So at least 3 of you have used this month. Yeah, I would add a contact page. I definitely would do that with a form. Definitely. All right. Okay. Let's see. So you could put just a line or two down here what your role was. You know, we see the title and everything, but just a little bit about that. All right. And the mobile. Left align that. It's not too bad. It almost makes a shape that looks intentional, but not quite. Right? You want to make sure you've got a good padding on the left here, and a straight line is helpful. It's kind of a short distance, but I know that's carrying over from your desktop, but you may not need it. You want to close that up. I would put a social icon there in the middle. I think if you can, you may want to put another image under that, or at least an asset guide, just a simple line or two there that pushes this down so that you're not already on your about page. The featured work looks like a very small page, and I don't see they have to use the button here, or I'm not sure how that's going to work. They have to go here. Okay. All right. You guys are doing really great. I love where you're going with these things. All right. So hopefully there's something you can use there. I can't wait to see how these are at the end of the week. All right. Good job.